Hello, this is your best friend Kyle again for Hibagon, Japanese Bigfoot. In our last lesson, we looked at some of the arguments, can I say that? Arguments in quotation marks, made by experts, explaining why the Hibagon cannot possibly be a Bigfoot, and why this Hibagon that you're looking at right now on the screen with your very own eyes, don't believe your lying eyes. Why this 2-meter tall creature that you see here, that's 6'5" for Americans, this is a macaque monkey. Well, we found those arguments to be silly. When I came to the Hibagon topic, I had my own objections that I had to work through. I think they were much better objections, so let's have a look at those. You see what you think, and let me know in the comments. All right, here we go. Number 1, Japan is too small. Uh-oh, sizeism again.
Hello, people!
Well, it's not very small, really. It stretches from Paris to Moscow. If you think that's not very far, tell that to this guy.
Welcome to What Fits into Russia. Yesterday, the last country we put in place was Angola. And look, with these other countries, not even half filling Mother Russia because of its enormous size. And look at rest of world. He's almost gone.
North Americans are kind of spoiled for land mass. Japan is bigger than Germany, bigger than Finland, bigger than Norway. Those countries have wilderness.
So today, let's put the so-called giant country of Argentina into place. Look!
About as big as the bottom of Alaska down to northern California, west of the Rockies.
It looks like tiny sausage against the vast, colossal size of Mother Russia.
About as big as the U.S. eastern seaboard.
But that is only a country, you say. What about the continent? Surely there is a continent somewhere in the world big enough to fill Mother Russia. Well, too bad for capitalist convicts and kangaroos who inhabit this godforsaken place, Australia. We put this into place. There we go. Look!
Here's Western Japan dropped into the Great Lakes region. Those are enormous lakes.
And for today's lesson to the Americans about the incredible size superiority of the Soviets, let's put the longhorn anti-Leninists of Texas in their place. So long, Lone Star State!
Japan compared with Australia and New Zealand. So, no, not small. Number 2, Japan is too urban, too crowded. Yes, the train can get a little bit crowded sometimes. The parks can be crowded. Tokyo Disneyland gets a little bit crowded, but well, let's have a look at Japan. A look at this relief map. Now, you might notice it looks a little bit bumpy. You see those bumps? Those are mountains, and they cover most of the country. And they are unstable. So that's why half of the population of Japan is squashed into just 3 big urban centers. And the other half is almost all squashed into smaller urban centers along the coastline. Now what that leaves you with is an awful lot of wilderness interior. Japan is 73% uninhabited. And that's because it's uninhabitable and even impenetrable by humans. 73%. Number 3. Well, surely people would run into them. Well, yes, they do. We have their sworn testimony. But not a lot of people run into them because people don't go into the wilderness very much. The wilderness, remember, is impenetrable. People go to campgrounds. They go to parks. They drive on roads locked inside steel cars. They don't go into the bush. To get into the bush, you'd have to mostly climb up unclimbable cliffs or drop down sheer drops into ravines that are full of double-jawed land leeches. Who wants to go there? Nobody. But even if you did, even if you went into the bush, the deep, dark bush, no Hibagon with half a brain is going to be caught off guard by you. Number 4, Hibagon couldn't hide forever. Well, again, yes, they don't. They don't hide forever. Now, most of the time, they do hide very, very well. Let me tell you a couple of stories about hiding out in Japan. Tokyo. Not a lot of green. There is actually a little bit of wilderness inside Tokyo city limits on the west. A few years ago, a professor of antiquities went hunting for a waterfall that he found drawn on an ancient map. It was drawn as a beautiful 3-stage waterfall. But no modern person had ever seen it. It wasn't on any modern map. People told him he was crazy. But after several years of searching, he finally found it. A waterfall lost, or you could say, hiding in Tokyo. Hiding for 400 or 500 years. Now, a waterfall doesn't enjoy any of your 5 senses. They don't have the gift of locomotion. They don't even have a brain. But this waterfall managed to evade humans for hundreds of years. One more. This is Fukuyama City, where I live, and Onomichi, next city over. Let's go down for a closer look. Okay, downtown Onomichi, you have your famous Senkoji Temple. Very historic and very famous. It attracts thousands of people a year. They had a legend here at this temple. A legend like the Bigfoot. A legend like the Hibagon. But this was a legend about a stone. It was a gigantic megalith. Very, very old. It was called the Mirror Stone because it was so highly polished. You were supposed to be able to see it from miles and miles away. Of course, it was only a legend. If you had come here and asked these monks, if you said, "Please, sir, please may I see the Mirror Stone, the famous Mirror Stone," they would laugh at you and say, "You silly man, the Mirror Stone is a mere legend, a fairy tale like the Hibagon." Except, oops, how embarrassing. A few years ago, a gardener found it by accident. The legendary Mirror Stone megalith hiding downtown for 800 years. Let's do a thought experiment. Let's give that megalith arms and legs and a good brain and a hairy coat to keep him warm and terrific senses and superhuman strength and a superhuman constitution. And then let's set him free. Let's release him here. I think he could beat his 800-year downtown hiding record, don't you think? Now, don't even make me get into this world hide-and-seek champion, able to hide in a foreign and hostile environment, able to evade every attempt to catch him on a very small island, and they never did get him. He gave himself up. Number 5. Well, what on earth would they eat? There's no 7-Eleven in the forest. Well, take a good look at this guy. Now, he is shrunken from about 3 months of decomposition. Imagine him pumped up with muscle. And take a good look at that jaw. He's going to eat anything he wants. Bamboo, pine trees, a lot of pine trees out here. My father-in-law had a book on edible Japanese wild plants. It was about 800 pages long. And that's for a human with human digestion. I think these guys have stronger digestion than we have. Bugs, grubs, eggs, snakes, birds, fish, you name it, he'll eat it. Deer. But I think his main staple is boar. They couldn't possibly eat too much boar either. We've got a real boar problem in Japan. Let me show you something. Back to Fukuyama. See this small mountain in the middle of the city? Closer look. My house is in this photo. All right, this mountain is lousy with wild boar. They have warning signs up all over the place. Okay, go this way. Now, my friend lives here, and it's so bad that the people here can't go out after dark. They're afraid of being gored by boar. Now zoom out. Boar everywhere. Boar, 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 boar. Coming out of your ears, coming out of your pores. If I were a Hibagon, yeah, I'd eat a lot of wild boar. This guy does all right here. And he's about Hibagon size. This guy is bigger than a Hibagon. And he does very well for himself on some pretty marginal land. So this guy, with all these resources, I'm sure he's doing just fine. There are other food resources too, which we'll talk about soon. Number 6. All right, I'll give you a single solitary Hibagon, but he's not going to reproduce, and that'll be the end of the Hibagon problem in one generation. But a breeding population? That would take up too much space. Well, I don't think so, because mountain gorillas have an average troop home range of only 8 square miles. Now, Neanderthal man, I think this is probably a better comparison. Neanderthal man had an estimated home range of, only 20 square miles. And that's for 145 individuals. That's a viable group. Well, then Hiroshima Prefecture wilderness land only, could support 119 active networks of Neanderthals. That's 17,255 individuals. And it couldn't support 1 or 2 breeding populations of Hibagon? Get out of here. Number 7, why haven't they been spotted recently? Well, of course, we don't know that they haven't been spotted recently. They probably have been. People are afraid to talk about it. We know that in America, most Bigfoot sightings go unreported. People are understandably afraid of getting ridiculed and maybe ostracized and fired from their jobs and divorced. Now, in Japan, with Japanese people and Japanese psychology, it's going to be a minority of a minority of a minority. Now, here's evidence of that. These photos are old. People were sitting on them for decades, not showing them, not sharing them, not talking about them. It's a culture of secrecy here, and a culture of not wanting to cause a commotion. Number 8. Japan has a very long history. Why did no one record these creatures prior to 1970? Yes, this is an excellent question. And next video we will only be able to begin to look at the cultural historical context, which is rich and deep and also very unsettling. All right, I'm Kyle for Hibagon, Japanese Bigfoot, the book. This is the video supplement. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.